Yeah.
Cool.
So Reven, and your pronunciation of your name, Azalea?
Azaya.
Azaya.
I know, I guess people... Are you...
you made this name up.
Yeah, I did. Are you a man of any sort of a belief system that would appreciate a dedication for our podcast before we start? Or is that too woo-woo weird for you?
No. Why would that be strange?
I don't know. If it is, I can hold
everything
that
is
too.
a spiritual conversation, isn't it?
Can I do us a dedication?
Yes, absolutely.
Would that feel all right to you?
It would be all right.
It's just a blessing for you and for your listeners, and gives us some grounding to settle in. God, Great Spirit, all that is, thank you so much for bringing us here today. Thank you for Sammy and his big, beautiful heart that just fills this room. Thank you for our ability to be present and to be in service. Open our hearts, open our minds, and allow us to be channels of your wisdom, of your grace, of your love, that people who are listening would receive what would touch their hearts and change their lives for the better, that they would know that they are worthy and that they are loved. And let us love them until they learn to love themselves. Let us speak words that just come from you and be fully present to the magic that surrounds us. Amen. Aho.
Wow. That's a beautiful way to start the conversation. You know, it's interesting. Growing up, of course, there was always prayers before meals.
Yeah.
But this is the first time someone actually had a prayer before a conversation.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's sort of a...
This is an amazing creation of the space.
Right.
It eliminates all whatever was in the space before. You created a clearing is what I would have referred to it as.
Yeah.
And now the listening changes.
Sure.
Because, you know, we've established the level where we're going to be, you know, connecting from.
Yeah. It's opening that channel, right?
Yeah.
It's like the prayer of St. Francis, let me be a channel of thy grace.
Yeah.
And it goes on really long and I don't remember all of it. And then there's the third and the 11-step prayer that I learned in 12-step. And it really is just like a dedication to be less of me and more of you, divine.
Well, that's right. You were in this 12-step program. You did and you would open the meetings with prayer. It's the Serenity Prayer.
The Serenity Prayer.
The Serenity. You still remember it?
Yeah. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and I added, and I should. That's just me because I'm a rebel, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's the Serenity Prayer, which is a brilliant way to do life, like radical acceptance.
Sure.
Right? So that's one of the primary tenets of all 12-step work. And also people in every major spiritual tradition that learn how to be happy.
Yeah.
You ask them, what is the thing? And they're like, acceptance. And there's lots of different languages and, you know, words for it. But that's the primary.
It's funny you use that term because I struggled for many years trying to find a synonym for the word love. And I finally came to the conclusion there's only one word in the English language that truly represents what I believe the word love is. And it's acceptance. Because you cannot love something that you cannot accept. Oftentimes we have relationships with siblings, parents, you know, husbands, wives, children, and we barely like them, but we say that we love them, when in fact we can't even accept who and what they are.
Yeah.
So it's in the acceptance of the entity as it is that one can actually begin the relationship in love. This is touching.
You're bringing some stuff up for me.
Go for it.
Yeah, you're bringing some stuff up for
Go
me.
for it.
I'm in a transitional phase right now we just changed our names publicly and legally a couple of months ago. And we now live in the Dominican. We've moved our family from this cushy golf course life where I was in real estate and doing well, and Reven does financial alignment and coaching. And so we were like living the Matrix dream.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And had family close by, right? And
that was the blue pill.
That was the blue pill.
That was the blue
and
pill
now
life.
we have just decided to pursue our own freedom and to pursue our greatest impact and our greatest service and our greatest pleasure. And I currently am being, what's the word? Uninvited to my family.
Oh, really?
As we speak, it's live. It's happening real time.
Uninvited. Speak more deeply on that. Because the word itself leaves so much to interpretation.
Yeah, and I'm looking for words that feel really authentic to the excommunication or whatever that I'm kind of experiencing in my family
What do you
unit.
got? Mennonite or what?
Essentially.
Exactly.
Are you?
Right? It feels like that from like the family cult. Everyone has a family cult, which
Yeah.
just means they have their own clearly defined rules that are different than society's. You know,
Yeah.
every family is like
Yeah.
that.
They're
But
afraid of change.
I'm being
Yeah,
asked
yeah.
to disentangle financially. I'm being asked to liquidate shared assets because of a lack of acceptance of them seeing me for my growth.
Is
for
your
who I'm
family a
becoming.
wealthy family and they're just kind of like taking you out of the will? Is this what we're talking about?
Hopefully not to that level yet, but the current assets that have, you know, shared resources are being requested to no longer because, quote, they don't know me as well as they used to. And it's absolutely heartbreaking for me
It
because
is.
I am the healthiest and the strongest emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually I've ever been in my
Well,
life.
that's a question I'm going to ask.
Like, that's what's crazy about
a
it.
moment ago, we just talked about you
Yeah.
reciting the Serenity Prayer, which meant you were either a drug addict or an alcoholic at one point in your life.
Bring it all.
And during that time, you were accepted into the family tribe and trusted and part of the whole the dynamic of the estate, etc. And now, when you're finally healthy and free and clear, they're saying, "Get the fuck out. We don't trust you
we
anymore.
don't trust you. We don't know you. We don't recognize
Wow.
you." So there's so
Are they
many
afraid you're going to
dynamics.
take from it?
No, I think it's the family dynamic of people needing to be needed. And when that
but
has
can't
been
you just give them a little bit of
historical-
needing without having to be, you know, like can't you feed them what they need in order to just accept you, or is it just take away from your self-dignity?
I've come to the point where trying to fit into the box that's so small it no longer fits me
Yeah.
is more painful than mourning the relationships that I need to mourn in order to pursue my own personal sovereignty, which has been well earned.
Oh no, I get
And
that,
so
but how
I'm
do you find
willing-
your personal sovereignty, and why are they so offended by it?
Well, I think it's less personal. The they is a more universal they. It's sort of like, have you ever heard the crabs in the bucket metaphor?
Oh, wait a minute, I have heard this before, and it wasn't Dr. Seuss. Okay, so
Who did the crabs in the bucket? Where'd we? I don't
even
remember
know.
where we first heard that.
We heard it from a couple talks on stage, but the idea of the crabs in the bucket is if you go to deep sea fishing, they use Maine as an example because there's a lot of crabs in Maine, obviously.
sure,
Crabs
they
and
come
lobster,
from Nova
right?
Scotia, you bastard,
Exactly.
you stole their lobster.
Yeah, they're migrating, you know, south. You know, but
No,
when you
no,
have the
your
crab-
guys are floating north.
Exactly. So when the crabs get put in the bucket, the fishermen don't need to put a lid on the bucket because the crabs that try to get out and escape to freedom, the other crabs just pull them back in.
Really?
And you can watch it.
Yeah,
like
and
they
you
compile
there's
together. They
videos on
build
it.
a triangle, and then as the one starts to go for the top,
They get
they
pulled.
come up and they all reach and they pull that crab back down.
Crabs cannot escape the bucket.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
crazy.
thing.
You can watch it
Oh
on
no,
YouTube.
no, I'm seeing this analogy now so clearly. Why does
Yes.
your family want to pull you back in? And well, first of all, let's be fair to them. Are they evil people?
No, they're
they're
beautiful,
amazing.
They're
loving
good
people.
evil. So they're
Here's-
good.
here's-
They're wonderful evil people. I knew you were gonna do that.
Here's what their definition of love doesn't include,
What?
and why it
Freedom?
felt like you. Acceptance.
Yeah.
It's not unconditional. And this is just conditioning that families and organizations and entire religions and groups of people are taught that the security is supposed to come from being with people who are like you.
Yeah.
And so when someone in your tribe starts
And also
to look
wars come
different,
from that too.
Wars, I know,
Yeah.
you're like othering, you're othering
Go
me.
figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, shocking.
Yeah.
That when
But
they
what
become
are
like
they?
you, it becomes threatening.
Give me a quick description
That's all.
if you were to define these people and describe them to an outside, which you are. Describe them.
Yeah, I mean, they're people who came from non-acceptance, like non-loving,
No.
fully environments.
Define as in, okay, what do they do for a living? What kind of business?
Let me give this a shot.
Yeah, all right.
Just because
Give it a shot.
her dad is a very successful financial advisor, classic stockbroker, who grew up in the Northeast Kingdom in Vermont, which, if you're not familiar with that, means he grew up in the country, in a house with a dirt floor, with not much, in a home full of abuse, who escaped it. Right. And so he vowed that his family would have better and, you know, all these things. So amazing man, has accomplished a lot of things, you know, really accomplished
He
what he set out to do.
single-handedly
Single-handedly
stopped
changed the
poverty
direction.
and abuse.
Yeah.
from his
Amazing.
siblings
Yeah.
and beyond.
Yeah.
And
Like,
you respect him for that.
heroic.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
And
We
you
have-
love the man.
I've idolized him
100%.
for
Got it.
that,
100%.
for my
We-
whole life.
And then he married.
He married, and her mom comes from a family which, and her mom has been pretty much a stay-at-home mom. But she had some jobs, but didn't really need to work a lot of the time. Like a lot of times when she was growing up. I mean, I wasn't there, but I've heard the stories over and over again. Her mom worked out of necessity. She was like a flight attendant, and then she worked at a doctor's office, and just kind of like little jobs to help pay the bills a
But
little
she
bit.
pitched in.
She pitched in.
How
and
many,
then
how many siblings?
She's
One
just
sibling.
one sibling.
Yeah.
So there's
How
two
old?
of them.
2 years older than me.
And what does he, she?
He's now doing home inspection.
Okay.
Yeah, in Arizona.
Is he very influential on the mother and father?
Very close with mom.
Uh-huh.
He has pursued a path that still includes alcohol and drug use and anger and a lack of healing. But he lives close to them. And so they have prioritized proximity with him over emotional depth with us.
Got it.
And
So is it
these
mom?
are interesting things to watch,
Is
right?
it mom or brother that's
So-
leading the rebellion against the you? Because it's not the father.
Yeah, no, it's both of them. Yeah,
I'd say
No.
it's more mom.
it's mom
It's
more
mom.
than
So
anything.
to be clear, when I said that his son or the brother and mother, and it's not the father, that is accurate.
Was that a question mark?
The question is because this is a man who was you, pursued his own path, pursued his own dreams, overcame everything,
Right.
and probably taught you so much about to become who you are.
Yeah.
So logically, he wouldn't be opposed to you
Right.
spreading your wings.
Logically.
And,
Logically.
Right.
Unfortunately, we're
Correct.
not logical beings.
so now
we're
we're
emotional
dealing
beings.
with
Right.
now
We-
we're
we
dealing
make
with an
emotional
employee person, which has a different mindset, the employee versus the employer mindset.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with somebody who's struggling to make it his way, but also dealing with addictions. He is maintaining a relationship with the mother, and the father probably looks at him as weak because father would look at his son, just a moment, his father would look at his son being all that he's accomplished and saying, why can't you be at least the man that I'm trying to train you to be? Now his daughter has surpassed his oldest son, which traditionally would not be something that's easy to accept.
Right.
So is this generally the dynamic that's occurring?
I don't know that that's the case, honestly.
I'm asking.
There's probably
There's
some.
probably elements of that,
some
but
in there.
I think there's also an element of we all have our patterns and our way of operating that we're comfortable in. And the way that we operate is on the edge.
Yeah.
Like we believe that our calling on this earth is to find our edge because that's where growth is,
Sure.
and we feel like we're called to live the highest calling that we possibly
right,
can
but
live.
there's specific things that they don't
Yeah,
like about your
they
behavior
don't-
and your belief
Yeah,
system.
well, it's fear. It's fear. And so, like, quite frankly, her dad got involved in real estate projects, got involved in all these things and failed. He moved across the country. They did big, bold things and they failed and they failed. And so and when he finally succeeded, it was in this one traditional space, go be a financial advisor,
Right.
stay, get grounded,
Right.
be in a place, get a job, show up
Sure.
9 to 5,
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, but he's seen you two
Yeah,
succeed.
but he's
So why has he still got
'cause
the
he doesn't- he
mentality that there should
because
be
he doesn't
fear
he
around
doesn't
it?
trust it because he sees us as we're 28 to 30 years old still.
That's
And
the
you're going to
challenge.
crash, and you're
and we're
going to
gonna
come to
crash.
him and take his
And
money.
he
Yeah.
feels
Got
like
it.
then
Yeah.
he'll be responsible to clean up the wreckage and
Ah.
support our children when our business ventures
When it
Right.
finally
fail.
does.
And us living on
which
the
is
edge.
a really
I get that.
shitty hook to
Yeah.
have in you. They're like, cool, just don't go so far that I won't be able to catch you when you fall.
Okay, so
That
let's
was
do
the
so, let's do a
blessing that
let's
we
do a
received.
funny exercise, and
Sure.
you guys tell me if we can do it.
Yeah.
I like your sense of humor. Let's reframe this for a moment.
Sure.
I want you to. You've read Sun Tzu, Art of War.
Mhm.
Okay.
I prefer Lao Tzu, though.
Okay.
Man
And
of peace.
You'll have to get into that, but that'll be a different episode. But the Sun Tzu Art of War says, "Love your enemy." Says, try to think from his perspective.
Yeah.
So I want you now to channel your dad and your mom and your brother
Yeah.
And I want you to come from their perspective and tell me what you see.
I send them love all the time.
I want you to be them
Yeah.
and look at you and tell me what they see.
Yeah, they see a younger version of me that couldn't trust herself and couldn't be trusted. They see someone who delegated her authority outside of herself. And I made a lot of self-harming and reckless decisions in my teens through 20s. And they have continued to use that as my identity. And when that's the case, when you view someone from their worst places of brokenness, then you can't imagine them being healthier and happier and more successful in the future.
Stay with me on the exercise.
Yeah.
They're scared for you.
Sure.
Yeah, because they are identifying with an old, outdated version of me.
Again, why is irrelevant.
Yeah.
So stay with me on this.
Yeah.
The purpose of this is not about, well, you'll understand in a moment. We're going to try this because you're a spiritual person.
Yeah.
So I want to just go deep for a moment and do a little spiritual exercise. You see their perspective looking at you, looking at him. And in the last 5-10 years, you're now in your mid-40s.
Right.
You've had a lot of failures in your life. You've made a lot of bad decisions. You've chosen poorly with men. You have children.
Yeah, 3 children.
3 children, and all from
This guy.
from this man. So it's not like you've got 3 baby daddies.
I have been clean and sober and monogamous for 16 years.
Got it.
So there's a long history now
Understood.
of being able to track me as someone who's healthy. Yeah.
But now they're still seeing something, and because you obviously love these people and you want to love these people. It's hard, but you want to because you're a loving person. So they see something that scares them. Somebody is leading this in the background, whether it's the mother or the brother. It's someone is leading this. My guess, just from the quick little description you gave, it's not the father.
Oh, it's the mom.
It is the mom.
It's the mom.
That was my guess.
100%.
Yeah. So, and she's being influenced by the brother. Okay. She was probably closer to him than to you.
Yes.
And so somehow they have come to a conclusion that dad made all the money, mom and the son and you are going to end up splitting it somehow because they get to reap the rewards of all his hard work, because it doesn't sound like they made the money, the brother and the mother, right? Am I right about this? Yeah. He made basically 90% of the money that we're talking about.
Sure. I mean, my brother's self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient, but we're not talking to the same level that dad accomplished.
But I mean, we're also not talking like there's multi-generational wealth either.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
But enough that there's fear and there's
scarcity.
He wants to protect
and scarcity, etc.
Sure.
Yeah.
So part of it may be that they look at you and go, you don't fucking need this. You're doing fine on your own. So
that's not it.
I'm asking.
That's not it.
But no, we're looking at
an
it.
Option.
We're looking at the possibility. Because I want you to feel a clearing with them, and I want you to feel like a calmness with them, because this is hurting you.
It's hurting her, but so it's all being driven from fear and from pain.
I got it.
That's really what it is, and it's really coming from her mom. I'm just gonna cut to the chase.
Sure.
And her
that
mom,
was obvious from the beginning, by the way.
So her, like, really what it is her mom is hurt by the fact that we moved away, that we moved the kids away.
Yeah, that would be a big one.
And so now having the grandkids around, and they relocated to be near the grandkids.
Right.
And so it's painful, and we get that. It's
and
painful.
they feel abandoned.
And they feel abandoned by us.
And the only weapon they have.
That's it.
It's financial.
So basically,
it's withdrawal
if you
of
want
love,
this,
and it's financial withdrawal.
Then bring the kids back so I can visit.
It literally, when we were told to disentangle an asset, it was like, move back and we'll keep it, or liquidate it.
So this is really all about leverage, so that she can get something she wants.
Which is what is not acceptance,
no, but hang on.
Which is why immediately it triggered me. And I was like, no, none of it has to do with me at all. And the beautiful gift in it that I'm sitting in is like, yes, there's pain, but it's not pain because of me believing that I've caused anything. I see it, and it's the pain that is the price of admission of living your best life.
Okay, so
and
now
it's
going
a pain
back,
that's worthwhile.
but going back to Sun Tzu,
Okay.
You be the mother for a minute.
Yeah.
And her grandchildren have now been taken away.
Yeah.
Feel her pain.
Sure.
We can do that. We've done this.
Do you feel her pain?
Yeah.
So how can you help her have less pain, but at the same time, live the life you want to live?
Right. Well, it started practically by inviting her to come and spend time. We have an ocean view dream villa that's been her dream for her entire life.
Did
that
she
we
come?
invite her. She chooses
She
not
came
to.
once.
She came once.
She came once. She chooses
And her
not to.
reason not to come is?
It's inconvenient. It's too far away.
She's got a mahjong group and a golf group.
She's too busy with her social scene.
How old is she?
60.
68?
No, she'll be 70 next month.
She's still young. So
And
you know that'll change.
It's a choice.
You know this will change.
Sure, she's just prioritizing.
Right.
And we now are at the place where we're just saying that in love. And we're saying, it's not that you're too busy. It's not that it's inconvenient.
And you have the ability to do Zoom videos on a weekly basis with the grandchildren.
And they don't.
And so
So she chooses not to.
the work is, for me, Sammy, the work is, and this is what I invite all of our listeners to be part of, is that it's never about the other person. It's never about their actions or their behavior.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm responsible for in this is my side of the street.
Yeah.
And I can send love.
Yeah.
And I can create personal boundaries.
Sure.
And I can say for myself, here's what feels not good as love.
Yeah.
And it feels like those hooks, those bits of leverage where they're going to control me. The emotional manipulation. They're going to control by money. They're going to control by anger, by guilt, by fear, by shame. I feel it now. And I say, no, thank you.
Now, how long has this been going on?
I mean, since we moved away 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. But that's the beautiful part in it.
Would you agree, though, in the next few years, there's a good chance it'll kind of resolve itself?
It may and it may not.
Yeah.
Well, no, eventually she's going to get, realize you guys are going to keep doing what you're doing.
She comes from a pretty stubborn family.
She can, but she'll lose the opportunity to spend time with the
100%.
grandchildren.
And
do the grandchildren want to spend time with her?
They did. They feel, children are very perceptive.
Sure they are.
And the last time we went to visit, 14, 11, and 7. And the last time we went to visit for the holidays, it was horrible. It was horrendous. They were miserable.
Kids didn't like
the kids didn't like the vibe. It was criticism and it was judgment and it was just nitpicking at all the little things they were doing wrong.
But that's what you grew up with.
And I got to see it. So here's the gift in all of this.
Yeah.
This is not a pity party.
No.
Like, this is not a poor me. I can't believe this is happening to me. This is an exciting opportunity to see what we don't want in life and to let that contrast of one way of being inform us learning and dedicating ourselves to learn how to become the other.
Isn't that the greatest gift you can give your children?
It's so incredible.
Yeah.
So like we go,
Thanks,
wow,
Mom.
thanks, Mom.
Yep.
Like you just got silent treatment because you didn't do the dishes. Like you got silent treatment for 3 days, darling, to one of my children.
Really?
And it was horrendous. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that happened to me all the time as a kid, and I didn't realize how damaging it was.
Let's take a moment and just feel sorry for Mom.
Wow.
Because she's actually going to be a very unhappy person if she's not already.
She is already.
She's very unhappy.
She's already.
You can't heal that.
No.
You can't fix it. You can't change it. Are your family nice and strong and healthy and happy? Your children are being
our kids?
Yeah.
We're healthier and happier than we've ever been. And
then the world doesn't exist, does it?
This is the piece that's
People have a
lingering,
choice. If they want to be a part of your life, this is your life.
Right.
And if they don't, then they're welcome to their own choices.
They're welcome to their own.
It's beautiful that you guys are strong and powerful enough not to be manipulated by that. And to be able to teach your children that they get to choose.
Yeah.
And they don't have to choose to be manipulated. They can choose to be, centered and happy, and other people can choose to be happy with them, or they can fuck off.
Fuck off. Yeah. And this is the gift of the beautiful pain.
Yeah.
So when I say I'm in pain, I'm also in the most great elation I've ever been in my fucking life.
Yeah.
Because there's freedom on the other side of that. For the first time in my life.
Yeah.
I'm starting to take the hooks out and say, you can't control me anymore. And I can love you, and I can love me more.
Well, I would have to say
that
even though your mother may see this, she had some responsibility in how you became an addict, and so did your brother. Mm-hmm. That's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence.
So you've described somebody, and I've met mothers like that too.
Yeah, you know some people. You got some history.
Yeah.
I know.
And they're difficult, and they cause us to almost want to self-harm because we can't hit them. Mm-hmm. And at that point, they're, if if one of you had the issue of addiction and problems, maybe you're a rebellious kid.
Yeah.
But when you both end up with the same situation and the only common denominator is the mother,
Yeah.
unfortunately, you are dealing with a toxic person.
Well, I would say that dad isn't absolved
He
of
has
things.
his
I'm
own-
not saying he's not
Yeah.
at all,
Right.
but I'm
Right.
saying you've just described
Yeah.
a toxic person who's also very unhappy in her own life.
Yeah.
And she may have some mental issues of her own that have not yet been addressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for
She might
sure,
be just a
for
dry
sure.
alcoholic for all you
It's
know.
true.
No,
Well,
she's not dry.
drinks every day.
She
But-
drinks every day.
And so here's what the focus has been. Instead of spending all my time, there's this expression that's like, when we get bit by a shark, we can choose to chase the shark and say, well, why did you bite me? Or we can choose to go get stitches, right? I'm at that
When the
place.
shark
Or
bites
get
you
yours-
again if you're chasing it?
Yeah.
There's that.
What are you, a dumb fuck?
They chase the shark. They want to go talk to the.
How is this
make
an
it a snake.
expression?
This is an
Yeah, how is this an
expression, guys.
expression?
Sounds
It's
like
all
a
over the
fucking
internet.
story of an
Really?
idiot.
It's all over the internet right
Is it?
now. Yeah,
Is
about if a snake.
Oh, well, if
bites
it's on
you,
the internet, it must be
it must be
wise.
true.
It's a thing.
There's
then
the
you
wisdom.
Go make it a snake if you'd rather. Go chase the snake and ask why it bit you,
Another
or
thing.
go get yourself some anti-venom. Right. So the invitation is
Yeah.
that we have spent in traditional therapy.
Look for the healing.
There's so much time spent about why you were broken,
Who
how
gives
you
a
were
shit?
damaged, who did it,
Who
how they
fucking
did it.
cares?
And at this moment in time, it's like my empowerment has returned when I've said, none of that matters. It's not
Yeah.
about them.
I came
They
to
were
that
my soul
conclusion in my
contract.
40s.
I think
They did what I asked them to do.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
belief system is that when I incarnated into this life,
Mhm.
I chose people around me to be
You
like,
sound like
yo,
a flake. I
I
incarnated.
incarnated.
What the fuck does that mean?
Okay, so God dropped me here. God, use whatever language feels good to you when you drive, right? My soul chose to come here, or God chose to bring me here.
I happen to
Either
believe
way.
the same thing. It's just the way you put
When
it.
I arrived at this party
Look,
of this
man,
Earth
I'm
school,
a meat suit, but my soul needed this meat suit
My
just so
soul
I
needed
could
it.
live on this planet.
Exactly.
As far as I'm concerned, you know, when you get to the point of elevation where you recognize that actually all we are is spirits, and we're occupying a body. Why this body? Because this
Yeah.
body works on this planet, and we happen to live on this planet.
right?
You
No.
take this body and just take it just into outer space, the body disappears.
Right.
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily mean the spirit disappears.
Mm.
Of course
It doesn't
not.
mean the soul disappears. But what we
No.
know is the body cannot live outside this planet. In fact, the
Right.
body is so fucking fragile that it can only live in a certain temperature range, right?
Mhm.
So why would this incredible spirit and essence created by this magnificent God put us in such a weak little vessel? The vessel itself is only needed to allow us to exist in a physical form for a certain period of time in a certain part of this universe.
Yeah, to
And
do
that's
this
all it
Earth
is.
school thing.
That's
Do you
it.
believe that you chose a tribe when you came into this Earth experience?
I can't say I believe it. I can say that I accept that it's a possibility.
Fair. Okay. So here's the belief that I've come to, that when we come into this Earth from the other side, wherever that is, we say, here are the experiences that I want to have in this Earth experience. Put me into an Earth suit, call it a body. We're going to do this thing. The
Yeah.
point is to have all of the experiences, the highs, the lows, the pain, the love, all of it, right? How about we all sign on to play roles for each other as we enter this Earth realm? I want you to be the asshole brother that beats me up. I want you to be the first boyfriend. I want you to be the parent. And these are
Why
the
do I
ways
get to
in
be
which...
the asshole
No,
brother?
no.
Okay, I want you to be my bestie, that we find each other in our mid-40s and we're like, let's do life together,
All
right?
right, okay.
There's these soul contracts
Yeah.
that we establish before we get here. So my
I
understanding
just
is,
didn't like the idea of,
Yeah,
you know...
no.
I was like pointing just to the bear.
I kind of like you, and I'm not. And you just made me a violent fucking
no.
bastard that's beating on you, and I don't get to be
beautiful
loved
part.
that way by a person
on
like
the,
you.
on the other side, you like agreed that you
Yeah.
would play certain roles, that we would play certain roles
But
in
do
this
we
life
agree to
experience
it, or
for
are we
each
just
other.
accepting that these are the roles that are foisted upon us? I'll give you a perfect example.
I'm throwing it
Was
as an
Judas an
Yeah.
evil person, or was he God's or Jesus' best friend who sacrificed himself?
I think they had a soul contract before they came in that they were going to play out that movie.
See,
That's
what
my
I have said for
understanding.
years,
Mhm.
is that this poor bastard Judas literally
Poor bastard.
had to be his
Yeah.
best friend, because if we follow the process of the story, God sends his boy. This is a Christian story, okay? His boy comes down, he's got the mother and the father. The human interpretation as to the Immaculate Conception, as far as I'm concerned, is the most ridiculous fucking story of the Bible. But okay, let's forget about the Catholic perspective. Let's look at it as he had a mother and a father because he needed to be born.
Sure.
And God's system of needing to be born on this planet happened to be two people having sex, and then there's a gestation period. The kid comes out, and he's born, and now he's treated as a human child,
right?
As every other species on this planet.
It's true. You have to put an explicit on this podcast now because you just said the S word.
What was the S word? Sex?
Yeah.
And fuck?
We're going to have
shit,
an
piss,
E
fuck,
now
then,
on
cock,
our
sucker,
episode.
motherfucker, and tits?
Yes, we made it.
Did we get them all?
We got them all. Perfect. Well done.
Do I have to bleep this out? I've never done that kind of stuff.
No, you just have to put an E on the episode. But it's fine. I'm used to it. I curse like a sailor, bro. So I'm used to being,
Well, here's the kid. He's growing up. He's
a
Jewish kid.
Right.
Okay, he goes to Jewish stuff. He does Jewish things. And he's got a father and a mother. And history wants to wipe out the father and say he's irrelevant, which sadly, because a father in a Jewish family would be very relevant. Then 13 years old, he gets his bar mitzvah. He's doing the Talmud. He's studying all this stuff there, and he's a very intelligent and wise young man. We hear every now and then he's working with his dad as a carpenter. Okay, so his dad was a carpenter. We heard that he was a carpenter. So obviously the father had some influence. We don't hear a lot about the mom, but she was probably a good mother. She did the cooking and the baking, and she took care of the laundry and took care of the family, like a good Jewish family back 2,500 years ago.
Right.
Then when along comes...
He's like, calm down. Don't get worked up.
Certain part of history then suddenly says, let's ignore 15 years of his life. Let's just pretend it doesn't exist. Let's just fast forward and get to the point where suddenly he's running around telling people, hey, I don't like this idea of Judaism. I think we have a different thing we should talk about. And here's how you can communicate with God. So for 3 years, he's running around. The Jews hate him now because he's now trying to ruin the whole Judaism thing. So they tell the Romans, can you get rid of this motherfucker for us? Because he's really causing us a problem, but we can't kill him. So then they go and arrest the guy. And this was his plan all along, was to be able to create this new realm of existence with a pure communication or commune with God. And so he says to his buddy, look, man, I got to get taken out, but I can't just go, and say, hey, listen, because then the story wouldn't work. You got to betray me.
Yeah. So
he asks his best friend to betray him. He says, man, you can't make me do this to you. I love you. And he goes, if you love me, this is what I need. So he goes and does it, knowing that his name for the rest of eternity would be mud. It would be destroyed. It's not about ruining your reputation in a village, but forever.
Yeah. What if that were a good friend?
That had to be.
Because he was there for the storyline.
Yeah.
He was there playing the role that you absolutely needed.
See, I'm following your narrative of playing the role.
Absolutely.
And now suddenly this whole story ends with, dude here, and this guy kills himself with his 30 pieces of silver. And then the Catholic Church is happy that everybody now looks at, forget about the father, the mother's Immaculate Conception, the Judas is a bad guy. And, let's throw in a whore in the story.
I was going to say, they actually act like Jesus' wife, Mary Magdalene. They're still saying to this day, despite all of the historical evidence, that she's a prostitute to
the
ruin her
boy was a good
so.
Jew. And he was a well-respected speaker. The only way that would happen is if he was married and had a family. There's no way people would have respected him enough to listen to him if he didn't already establish himself authentically with integrity as being a good member of the tribe.
Which has rules.
Yes,
to
and
be
that
a member
was one
of the
rules.
tribe.
And that's the story I've been saying for a long time.
You're right.
But then I get rejected, and people then say, "Oh no, you can't talk like that."
But you know
yeah,
what?
of course you can.
Now the Gospels
you can when it's
are
your
being.
own podcast.
Yeah, it's my
That's
fucking
a good point.
podcast.
It's his fucking podcast.
Yeah.
And there's Gospels that have been uncovered
because
to
I'm not,
prove these
and
things.
because that's not like I'm not going after Muslims, I won't get death threats. Okay, Christians generally they just get really mad at you. Okay, unless they happen to be the Ku Klux Klan, right? Then they can really get mad at you, and then now you have your problem.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is 99% of the Muslims I've met in my life are open and loving people. And it's the 1% that make it look like they're all terrorists, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But that group to the
pretty much
Islam
everything.
is the same as Ku Klux Klan is to Christianity.
Right.
That's the same with anything.
Always going to exist.
And polygamists, by the way, to Mormons. We have a lot of Mormon friends as well, and they feel just as ostracized and othered because of the 1%. that do things on the extreme. But I think that's with
Where
every
they have
group.
the
as you're
multiple
saying.
wives?
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. But you have to marry them. I mean, I like the concept of multiple sex partners,
Yeah.
but, you know, the marriage thing
Then
is
just
a
go
little
with
bit...
polyamory. Just
Go with
don't even
polyamory.
worry about the
Yeah.
polygamy thing. You just don't
Do
need
I
to.
still have to do a gender reveal and pick what gender I want to be, or can I
For
be...
polyamory?
Yeah, I'm
No.
getting confused now because
No.
there's
No.
72 genders,
Yeah, no.
and
that's
now
not
we've
the
got new
thing.
words for
I thought
having
there were
sex
two
with
genders.
multiple people
I
and
thought there were
stuff,
two
right?
genders.
So are we talking gender?
No, that's the funny thing.
There's conscious
I thought there was
non-monogamy.
boys and girls, an innie or an
I know.
outie, but unfortunately, a lot of
Yeah.
people think that there's many more. I've never had a problem with people expressing themselves in any way they choose to.
Totally.
I have a problem when someone tells me I have to believe that that's a legitimate way of living, or that I should accept. For example, that when they talk about, look, transgender, don't care. Gay, straight, don't care. Multiple, bi, I don't care. None of that stuff mattered to me.
Right.
It was only when they came to me and said, well, I'm neither.
Right.
I'm a non-binary, and my
Yeah.
personal pronouns are. And when they got to the point where my banker was writing me a letter, and at the bottom of the letter, my banker wrote, and my personal pronouns are she, her, that's when I lost
know.
my
To
shit.
me, that's a bit of a psychological disorder at that point in time.
It is.
Anyway. Yeah.
But how did
just
it become?
extreme.
How did it become important in our mainstream society that we say that it's now must be inclusive? When
Yeah.
less than what is it? Less than 5% of all North Americans fall into the category of the LGBTQ community, which is nobody's ever had a problem really, realistically. But then the non-binaries come in, and like they're not even 1/100 of 1%.
Right.
And now the letterhead says my personal pronouns.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own, like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Be yourself,
Unless-
but don't tell me
unless-
to call you a
like
she,
the whole
he,
pursuit
him,
of
them,
happiness-
there, them, thee, thy, and then go to the male bathroom or the girl's bathroom
Sure.
when you're
I mean,
a 48-year-old man.
The whole idea
That
of like the
part's-
American dream and the pursuit of happiness is all you can pursue whatever you want as long as your pursuit doesn't have a negative impact on me. Right. Like if there's any harm done to me. So like you could argue there's not harm being done by that banker, but when there are
The males
shifts,
going in the girls' bathrooms. That's in the girls' locker
and when it gets to the
rooms.
point where we got
That's
to
harm.
fund these psychoses with tax dollars and stuff like that, now that's harm. Like that's financial harm to this country that's already $37 trillion in debt.
Have you received letters from government now or government offices or banks where it actually says at the bottom, and my personal pronouns are?
No.
That changed everything for me.
Yeah.
I didn't care, up until the point where they literally wanted. Here, can we just stop for just a second?
Sure.
Hey, Lou, how you doing, buddy?
Lou.
You're welcome to sit for a few minutes. How was your time this afternoon?
Which time?
Your afternoon.
now.
Are you scheduled for other stuff, or can you hang for a bit and just let me finish up with this because we're running late?
Running late.
I started running late with Davin.
Are we on camera?
Yeah. Do you want me to pause it?
No. So then I want to get my cap and set, and I'll come back.
All right.
Perfect.
Go ahead and finish up.
And you're good to just hang until,
Oh,
and
you
then
might
we can.
wanna-
Yeah,
So
we'll
when we're
be
done,
15
we'll move
minutes or
to you
so.
next, and then.
Like 15, 20 minutes on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. I
Cool.
appreciate you. I'm gonna have fun with you.
Whoop, whoop. Get his cap and his hat. I love it.
And you guys don't have to worry
Perfect
because even some of this fun stuff that we're doing might not make the final.
Sure.
I'm just enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
This
Totally.
is for me and for you.
Yeah.
Right? It's fun.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
you get to decide
Yeah.
how edgy do you want it to go or not go.
Yeah,
In your conversation.
And we're an
You know,
open book. So.
I'm literally, nothing that I do. I decided from the very beginning. I'll give you a perfect example. Last week I was talking to a young man. He's 23 years old, very intelligent, involved with he actually coded AI, created an AI program that's brilliant. Dylan, I don't know if you met him.
No.
But while he was talking about it with me, he started talking about investments and raising funds for, the company that him and his father and brother have developed.
Sure.
And my brain immediately said, there's no way I could fucking, put that out there because that'll get him and his dad and his brother in trouble. I know that, but the 23-year-old kid doesn't know that. So, I'm in my mind just going, okay, he can talk about it, but it's not going to make the final cut. Because that, again, there's rules around talking
Depends on
about
what
it.
type of
regulations,
regs
securities
he-
regs.
Yeah.
Funny
It
thing
depends
is-
on the way he's
Depends on
structured
the way
his
his
fund.
fund is structured.
Well, it doesn't matter. He is 23 and he doesn't know how it works, and he,
Then it's not structured
so
properly.
no, his father knows.
Okay.
And his father, okay, so I wanted, the only part of the conversation that would make it to that final cut would be about the AI, his story, how he writes it, what it's about, and this and that.
Yeah.
If I want to have a conversation with how they're making money, I'll talk to the father, and the father will know what limits he's allowed to say and what he's not allowed to say.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it was funny, I knew this right away. About an hour later, he's panicking and he's like, "Oh, please, you can't upload that yet. I can't. The whole part about the investment." I said, "Kid, relax. I already knew that."
Right.
You know, and he's
Will be
like,
deleted.
"No, but really, you can't. I wasn't supposed to talk about it. I already know that. I promise you. I will never embarrass you. I'll never make you.
Nice.
You know." So.
Right.
I'm not the National Enquirer. I'm not the fucking View. I'm not trying to make people look stupid. I want,
Yeah.
you know, the people that you are to be revealed
Yeah.
to people who need to learn from people like you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know, because you're a good-looking girl. You're a good-looking guy. You both were, you know, probably in high school, like, well, you said at
She was
one
an ugly
point
duckling,
you were.
she said.
No, we don't use
We're
that
not
word.
gonna
Well,
open
we're
that
opening that can of
again.
worms.
No, but you can't be. See, the whole concept of duckling doesn't turn into a swan. They're different species, for
Yeah,
Christ's sake. I don't
know,
even
I know,
understand.
I
So
know.
it was Disney that fucking lied to you. No, the point was
About
is
almost
that,
everything, by the way. The
Yeah,
fairy tales.
I know.
Yeah. That's why I end every story reading to my children when they end with, and they lived happily ever after.
Yeah.
I always add with lots of therapy.
Yeah.
Yes. Like that is my trademark. It might go on my gravestone
But you
with
know, you could do-
with lots of therapy.
You
Lived
could
happily
also
ever
add this, and they lived happily ever after by choice.
after. Yes.
Because you
So
can be
good.
happy with even in horrible
Yeah.
circumstances.
That's so true.
So, you know, us choosing in this moment to be happy
Yeah.
and enjoying each other, that's a choice.
Right.
You know?
It's totally a choice. It's
Yeah.
like my great grandmother.
Being on the cruise doesn't make us happy.
No, like everything in her hurts. My grandmother.
Yeah.
How old is Mima now? She's
88.
I thought she was 90
90?
something. But like wheelchair,
Yeah.
walker,
Yeah.
multiple back surgeries,
Yeah.
almost always in pain.
Yeah.
And you talk to the woman,
Yeah.
she glows
Yeah.
like a light bulb.
Yeah.
And a huge smile like yours that just lights up the room.
I had an
And
aunt
I'm
like
like,
that. 600
Yeah?
pounds, lived to 92, and she was the most happy person
Happy
I've
person
ever
ever.
known my entire life.
Wow.
Every month, she's always trying to feed everybody. First
Just
of all,
always. Right.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and like she like when you go to visit, it's like, you know, a rock star has shown up. You know, you are always treated like the
Yeah.
greatest
Yes.
celebrity and. One regret I have is I didn't spend more time, make
time.
more of an effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our family moved from Toronto to Ottawa when I was young, and all that part of the family lives in Toronto. And we were there, and I had no control. I couldn't just jump in the car and go
Yeah,
and visit
yeah,
Auntie.
sure.
And by the time I'm a teenager, I'm beating the hell out of my dad and getting the fuck out because he beat on me. So
Yeah.
at that point, I had nothing to do with the
Different
family.
realms.
Yeah.
So you never got to ask her what made her continue to be so
I
happy,
didn't.
right? So my Mima, you can borrow mine if you'd like. 'cause
Could
it
I?
plays into what you asked.
Sure.
Yeah.
Give me your
She's
WhatsApp.
incredible.
Is she on WhatsApp?
She's amazing. She's in Baltimore now in this retirement community. And she goes, yeah, all of these old people around me are just miserable all the time. And
Yeah.
all they talk about is their ailments and what hurts
Yeah.
and what's not right and how their kids don't visit them and all this stuff.
Yeah.
She goes, happiness is a choice, honey.
Yeah, but you understand
Happiness
something.
is a choice.
The
she
people
says.
that she's describing,
Yeah.
that was their whole life, not just now.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's just been practicing. She's been putting in the reps of happiness is a choice
That's
for as
how
long
she
as I've
chose to
ever
live
known
her whole life.
Yeah.
Therefore, in this circumstance, she's happy.
Yeah.
They're in the same circumstance, but they have lived that way
Yeah.
their whole lives, even before they got into that circumstance.
Totally.
So, I don't know. I mean, the three of us agree on a lot. Okay, and I dig that. And I can see already
Yeah.
I'm going to learn a lot from knowing the two of you because you both have a lot of experience and knowledge and wisdom. I love how you're raising your kids independently of the toxicity that's, that you know is there.
Yeah. But it looks like love at first glance. And this is
Again.
important. This is an important distinction, though, I think, for people.
They actually believe they love.
They believe that they love, and
But they
they're
don't understand
loving the
love.
They love
best
to the
way
best
that they
way
know how.
right now.
They're loving to the greatest ability that they currently have with their
You and
understanding
I,
of
listen,
love.
the three of us could talk about an entire episode about love because
We could.
I truly have, my relationship with the word is different than many people's relationship with the word. there's rarely in my life have I experienced people of love, of real love, and actually experienced it in a way that it comes from them and it's received by them.
Yeah.
There's always been strings attached, manipulations, agendas, you know, every fucking time somebody says, you know, hey, listen, you know, there's something I got to say to you. That dress, it's only because I love you. I have to tell you, you know, and so this is more truth than regular truth.
It's called weaponized love.
No. This opinion is not just an opinion. It's a really valid opinion because I said I love you.
Yeah.
Or to be honest, it's only because I really need to be honest with you. That dress, you know, but I have to be honest. Or I have to be brutally honest. That manipulative shit is a fucking opinion of one person wrapped into holy divine, you know, words that are coming from God. And because you love me, I must listen to you or else I'm not loving you back.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Fuck that. That's weaponized love. The same as when they take anything that you've ever been or done or said or thought.
Oh, yeah.
And it comes back around to get you.
Yeah.
Right? Later.
Great that they remember.
20 years later, 30 years later, and they refer
but you
to
said
you
you
by
forgave
that
me.
person.
You know, I did, but I never forgot.
Right.
Don't you love that line?
Yeah, it's called
I
weaponized
can forgive, but I can't forget. What the fuck is the difference?
They're still drinking the poison of non-forgiveness because the whole point of forgiveness is for us. It's not for the other person, right? And not forgiving is like continuing to drink a droplet of poison every day
and hoping the other person
dies, right?
Yep.
So that's what they're literally like feeding you. But recently, in all of this, the beauty of it is, as we're having the love conversation, I've been asking people because I'm just a curious little soul like you are, right? Like I ask people, well, what has your experience been with love and with unconditional or with conditional, or how has love hurt you? How has love not hurt you? Like, how does this all work, right?
Yeah.
And some of the most beautiful understandings that I've had have come out of this most recent couple of months. And my favorite one is from a mom who actually has had a transgender child. She's become a dear friend of mine, one of the most beautifully spiritual and grounded, both people, right? She went through the pain of losing a daughter to become a son. And we could do an episode on what that was like and how she at first felt abandoned and harmed and whatever. No, she was not. But she worked through it.
I've always wanted a boy.
Right? And then she realizes, she's like, it's only going to hurt me if I believe that this is a story that it was done to me, done against me.
Nothing was done to her.
And it wasn't done to her. So she has learned through the hard way about what unconditional love really is. And I was like, apparently I don't know what that is. Will you teach me?
Yeah.
And she goes, here's your definition, babe. I want for you what you want. When we really boil it down, I want for you what you want.
Okay, I like that, except that at one point in your life, what you wanted was to be drunk and high all the time.
That's true.
So let me.
Really?
And let me, and know that I have a safe place to return home when I'm ready to love myself.
But do you? What if you're coming home all the time stealing from me so that you can feed your addiction?
I could still love my child, and I will say that I want for you what your highest self wants. Not what your immediate drunken,
your highest
high,
self
drugged
can't be accessed because of the drugs and the alcohol.
But
Yeah,
you
but
can. But we talk about this a lot, like we have in the past. It's just setting boundaries. You can love people and set boundaries. I can. I mean, if we have a kid that deals with that,
define the difference between setting boundaries and being manipulative with your love.
There's when kids, especially
how it gets
I get it.
But it's actually pretty clear. I feel like, go ahead, if you know
I still think it's just a matter of like wanting for them what they want for themselves and like on a higher calling. But it's also realizing when people are sick that and you're going to get abused in the process because like that's what happens. If they come back, they're going to steal
Yeah.
They're going to, do nefarious things, whatever. And it's not because they're bad.
Right.
It's because they're sick. It's their disease, And
Or they're being manipulated through social media.
in some
they're being
context.
bullied. They want some attention. They want to remove their penis, become a girl.
But it's
and then they realize 10 years later, oh, what the fuck did I do? So do I want?
But it doesn't matter if it's your kids or if it's relationships. We went through hard times. At one point in time, I had to be like, hey, like, I can't continue this cycle. I love you. I want what's best for you. I love us. I want us. And it can't be happening like this because as much as I love you, I got to love and create boundaries around my peace.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can create boundaries around your own peace, which I think, if your kids start doing that, well, then it inflicts my peace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if our kids start doing that, then you have to create boundaries to protect your own.
Right.
And if as long as it's coming from
but
that
is boundaries, controlling, and manipulation, can there be?
I mean, it can get conflated.
Yeah.
It can, for sure.
Here's what I see with the difference, and this is from someone who's now come from a place, and I've been in the addiction recovery world for a long time. I also dragged him through 10 years, right? Thank you. And I dragged him through 10 years of multiple simultaneously occurring addictions.
Really?
Everything that anyone
must be a great lay.
has ever done when I was drunk was like anything
pretty hard
gnarly.
to get a person to stop drinking when they're really good at it.
At the beginning he was like, you really kind of were more fun when you were drunk. Like you weren't faithful, but you were fun. When you were on the bar, on the cruise ship, like whatever. But it wasn't worth it in the end because I inflicted more pain than the fun was worth.
Oh, I follow that.
But I think here's the difference between manipulation and boundary. Manipulation has a sense of I can or I should control another person.
Yeah.
And the motive and the intention is that if I use this money, if I use anything as leverage, whether it's love, attention, housing, money, affection, whatever, then to get you to change your behavior, that's manipulation. That's
sure,
control.
but I know better.
But if a healthy boundary.
Yeah, but I know better and I love you. I don't want you to hurt yourself.
I know. Your irony
I love you.
You're speaking how most people are, and she's saying how it should be.
That's the part that's the manipulation and control. The healthy boundary just says, you're free to do whatever you love. I would love to see you in your healthiest self.
Sure.
And right now, I'm not available to engage with you until you return to me healthy.
Got it.
I'm not telling you to go be healthy. I'm not telling you to go stop doing drugs or stop drinking or stop fucking around or stop doing whatever it is that you're doing.
I can't imagine you two saying that to anybody.
I'll say that to my kids. I'll be like, I will love you from afar while you're fucking up your life. I get it. I'm not going to try to stop you. I'm not going to try to control you.
I think you missed my joke. But
I missed your joke. Okay, tell me what.
He got it. Let's go.
What is
Keep going.
Keep going. You're good.
I don't even remember.
Do you have extensions, by the way?
You never ask a woman that.
Sure, I can.
That's one of those
It's my
things.
podcast.
It's like asking for their age.
No, it's just your hair looks so fucking great.
Thank
and I'm sitting there,
I accept that. I receive that.
You literally have made yourself up like in your best possible self. And there was a guy that was on last week. I would have loved to have introduced him to you.
Yeah.
He was brought onto the ship by one of the guests. He's a makeup and hair artist for the celebrities in the Grammys.
Oh,
nice.
cool.
And this man, I met him.
Kind of friend.
Yeah, and we were in the smoking area, and he there's this incredibly beautiful woman that was in there, but she had this natural beauty. She didn't have like the makeup and the like very little, and her hair was nowhere near what it could have been. And I'm looking at her, and I'm talking to my buddy. I'm saying, "What could you do with this?" He goes, I'm telling they can't help but start the conversation.
Of
Snap.
And he's like, she
Double
has
or
no
triple
idea that she could be Miss America, this girl.
Yes.
She has the structure, she's got the eyes, she's got the teeth, she's got the height. And I said, can I introduce you to her and see if she's willing to or open to, learning a little bit about how she could enhance what she already has?
Right.
Yeah. He goes, bring it on.
Bring it on.
Because he's in his dharma. He's in his passion.
He's an artist.
When you love doing that. Yeah, like everyone brings out the
I brought her
beauty in
over.
people.
And the interesting thing was she, bit of a chip. She was like, but I already know how to do it. And when you're saying I'm not doing it right, this and that. And I'm trying to say, lady, do you know who you're talking to? Like you're getting free advice
Yeah,
from a
it's
guy
like-
who charged. He's being paid $10,000 just to be on the ship to do one lady's makeup and hair.
Wow.
And that's
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Just-
Like
Right.
he's done Beyonce's mom's hair
And if
for
you
the
don't-
Grammys, and you're sitting here going, yeah, but don't you think I've got that? Shut up!
Shut up.
This is
Yeah.
a free consultation
Yeah.
with a
Right.
world-class expert.
Oh my God, I would
And-
kill.
And like she
Yes.
just was not open.
Perfect. Let
Okay.
them.
And
Then
he was
enjoy
like,
your life,
he
darling.
said to me, he says, you know how rare it is that a person doesn't just shut up and listen to me? He goes, but it's okay.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Then he was fine and he went and had a smoke and then we talked about something else.
Yeah.
But
can't
you
take
have
it
it figured
personally.
out. And in fact,
You're
he asked,
sweet. Thank you.
actually, I didn't know shit about
By
your
the way,
extensions.
did you know she was Mrs. American 2021?
You were?
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's a thing.
It's
so
a-
I was a tomboy.
Really?
And what we didn't finish at dinner the other night is that I was so unattractive in high school.
Were you
I
a
was
boy?
I was dared.
You were a boy before?
I was a really ugly. I was
That's
a
the
really
best
unattractive girl. That would have been fun.
transgender. Best
No.
fucking sex change I've ever
But
seen in
some
my
of
life.
those
Oh
guys,
my god.
some of those guys, they make the hottest women.
Oh,
like
sure.
they started to allow them at Miss
Yeah.
Universe a few years back, and I
No.
watched them. Yeah, Miss
They did.
Canada was
No.
Miss
Canada.
Canada was the first
Was it?
transgender on Miss Universe.
Yep.
This was
True
in
story.
what year? How many?
It
10
was like-
years ago,
no,
probably.
it was
now.
like, yeah,
More?
probably 7, 8 years
Yeah,
ago.
and she
Did it
was-
have a vagina?
I don't know.
It should
I'm-
not have been entered if it didn't have a
I
vagina.
don't know the
Unclear,
answer to this.
But I watched her on stage, and she was one of she. However, I'm honoring the she as the decision. She was one of the most stunningly beautiful humans I've ever seen, and I went, we as women, like, we can't compete with that. Those long legs, the tiny little waist, like, I can't even compete with that.
Dude, they don't even
And it-
let steroids in the Olympics.
Right? But you
Okay.
can have it in time. So she was absolutely stunningly beautiful. And I remember scrolling through and being like, shit, look at this gorgeous person. And then finding out she was transgender. And so anyway, sometimes it can
My
happen.
God,
but yeah,
you-
I was
can you
so
imagine?
unattractive. I
You're in
got,
the bar, you meet
Yeah.
and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And then you're like, she's coming home with me.
it's straight up.
Luckily-
Ah, would you tell your friends or would you fuck her anyway?
No, I would stop.
I would stop.
I would stop.
It would be,
It would revolt me.
Yeah.
The moment that it, like, for me,
Yeah.
it would just be a turn.
I've never been
Yeah.
attracted to penis. In fact, I don't even understand why women
Interesting.
are attracted to
I-
penis.
no.
I really don't. So that's how ungay I am.
Yeah, that's how I'm gay.
Really-
I feel the same way about women. I have
Yeah.
a bunch of friends who are gay. Some
Yeah.
of my closest girlfriends. It's
Yeah.
ended up over time. And I was on the UMass rowing team. And so a bunch of those girls were gay. And they were besties with the rugby girls. And at one point I was invited to
You
a
road crew.
rugby party. Yeah.
Really?
And I was a 3-season athlete forever and ever. I'm just out of shape. Just don't. I'm old now and out of shape.
Oh.
25 years
I was
ago.
25 years ago. Yeah, I was a jock. I was a total jock, tomboy.
No, she didn't
And-
answer about the extensions.
And I went to. I have naturally curly hair. I have naturally curly hair. Yeah. And so
You look great.
I got invited to go to this party.
Naturally curly
And
with a
my
curling iron.
girls were like, "No, you can't." Like it was like a lesbian party, and they were like, "No, you can't come." And I said, "Girls, like I
I
want to
didn't
do
get
the
invited.
college thing. I want to try it. I want to
Yeah.
give it a college try. Like,
Sure.
I'm not really too into girls, but
Yeah.
like I want to be on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Like just give it a check.
Yeah,
You
it's a
know."
lick it list.
At this time,
Yeah.
fair. At
Yeah.
this time, I was drinking heavily and I was in it for the party,
Yeah.
you know? And they were like, no. And I was highly offended. And they said, you are so straight. We're not even letting you join this party. And all of my gay girlfriends were like, babe, no, you just can't play.
I thought they were the group of
It's a thing.
inclusion.
I know, but they just said
I
there's like a
tried
gay
to join
bar. There's a
LGBTQ
gaydar.
plus A and all that stuff, but they said
Yeah.
the plus doesn't include us. There's no H.
Aw.
Do you know that we're
Oh.
not allowed to join the group?
For the heterosexual?
Yeah, there's no H, and they don't allow it. And I'm like, I don't
Interesting.
understand. That's not fair. I thought the plus was inclusive,
Was
and no,
inclusive.
wasn't the whole point of the whole LGBTQABCRFG plus supposed to include everybody?
Right.
But heteros are not included.
Well, for now, give them their run. You know, I'm actually working on coining a new term. So I'm doing another podcast called Divine and Dirty with this girlfriend of mine who really is into
Sounds like this one.
kind of like this, Divine and Dirty. Like there's lots of different ways to,
I
you
better
know,
copyright it real
to
quick.
grow.
Yeah.
And she is part of the polyamorous, the open community.
Yeah.
She's done kink, she's done BDSM, she does like emotional and social and spiritual work with people through
Yeah.
sensual and sexual expression, right? And I'm like long-term married, monogamous, vanilla. And so it's just funny that there's actually no term that's commonly used in our cultural vernacular for long-term monogamous.
Right.
Not just long-term married, but like long-term monogamous.
Isn't it called Christian?
Yeah, but they're not always actually monogamous. Like when
Yeah.
there's people that are going out, then you're not in a monogamous relationship, right?
Okay.
So I'm coining the phrase CLTM for conscious long-term monogamy, and not long-term monogamy because you said yes 20 years ago and you're being dragged
You're
behind the
choosing
bus
it each day.
and you're miserable.
You're re-choosing
Because
it.
you're re-choosing it, and
Yeah.
you're choosing it for depth and expression and spirituality and expansion.
So what you're
not
saying,
just stuck in it, you know?
if you or he
Yeah.
found another person that they truly had a deep attraction to and love for, that you have an agreement between you that if the only way that you would allow that to occur is if you communicate with each other and say, I no longer want to be. Otherwise, you're breaking the agreement. So you agree or don't agree. And it's one or the other. Is that what you've just said?
It's funny you bring that
Well,
up.
I hear you just saying that there's integrity in the
Yeah,
in,
There is
that's
integrity.
really what
An
you're
open
saying.
conversation.
You specifically said, I'm
Yeah.
choosing this each day.
Correct.
I'm not doing it because I made
Well,
the
let's-
promise 20 years ago.
Right. If
And you
I
say,
were
funny,
to
I brought it up,
request
which
something
means
different,
there's a good story here.
yeah,
There's a great story.
there's a
here.
great story here.
And
Yeah.
it's our life.
It
Yeah.
answers your question
Yeah.
with our
It's
life.
the thing that got us, honestly, what brought us down the plant medicine route when we first started
Right.
ayahuasca. But she developed feelings that just caught her by surprise
Yeah.
for another guy.
Yeah.
And she handled it with integrity. And she came to me and basically started saying, after I started sensing some stuff, and
Yeah,
it was what it was. But ultimately, she came to me and was like, "Hey, listen, I'm thinking about,
Yeah.
I've got a lot of love in me. There's all this stuff going on, and what would you say about
Yeah.
maybe opening it up?"
Yeah.
And I feel like all this stuff, and I don't even know how to like.
So I
handle
said,
this.
what
yeah,
if?
like
What if
I'm gonna let
it's like
you
it's
handle
like
this
having
one.
2 children, right?
Yeah.
And the idea was, what if I have enough love that I can love 2 people, and I
Yeah.
could have each of you? I don't want to break up our marriage. I
Yeah.
don't want to break up our family.
Yeah.
I love our life together. And I caught these feels, and I'm
Yeah.
higher than a kite. I'm living on dopamine and adrenaline,
Yeah.
right? I lost all sorts of weight. I'm barely eating. I'm
Yeah.
barely sleeping, which means, by the way, if that's happening,
Yeah.
it's more of an addiction
Yeah.
than it is
Yeah.
actually
Yeah,
a
you just
thing.
described it actually.
Yeah.
Pretty
So it was
much.
like I could have been on drugs again. I was
Sure.
on the drugs of a new relationship.
But it wasn't the
Um,
drug of his physical. It was the drug of something in his essence.
It was the drug of awakening, reawakening something in me, reawakening a life force in me that I had held dormant to save my sexuality and to protect it. Because when I
Have
was
you tried Viagra?
right,
No, I haven't.
It's,
But
well, and when she's not into that, that's the last thing that she wants is somebody coming at you with more of the offer of that. But I mean, I get the joke. But so yeah, I went to him and I was like, here's what I want to do. I want to not just cheat.
Yeah.
I want to not be doing this behind your back. I want to be a person who's in integrity, and I want to be able to explore maybe the next 20 years I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be with someone else.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm supposed to be with you. I
Yeah.
want to explore it with integrity. How can we do that? And so we hit it with consciousness, and he actually analyzed it. He didn't like it. He didn't like the instinct of it, but he was willing to look for success cases where
Yeah.
that could be a possibility. And then we talked it through.
Yeah.
And here's what Rev did that was so beautiful that in the end made me fall in love with him even more.
Aw.
Is he never called me a name. He never spoke badly of
You
me.
slut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He never said, how fucking dare you
Yeah.
look at someone, be attracted to someone, allow yourself to even
How
be
can you
fantasizing
not? I mean, that's the
someone.
natural human response to being alive. So,
Yeah.
the fact that you had the integrity to talk about it, I promise you, he has walked through life and been aroused by other women. And whether he acted on it or not is between him and his God. And between you and him, if he chooses to be honest about it. But he would be a lying
Yeah.
son of a bitch to say that he hasn't looked at another girl and gotten a rager and thinking, man, that would be great.
Yeah. But here's what most couples don't do.
What?
They don't learn how to hold that conversation in safety.
True.
because they
Well, they're
weaponize
afraid,
it against
yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
And so people don't
because
take
women
the,
get all afraid that if he says it, it means he's thinking
Women,
it.
I would say both
It's
get afraid.
both.
Yeah.
I would
It's
say both
both.
get afraid.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's true.
from both parties, from both sides.
So did you
And
fuck the guy?
so I didn't.
Oh, okay.
No,
Would
but
you have let her?
but I
No.
fell for I fell for him, and then I realized quickly
Was it sexual?
it wasn't.
Like, was there a physical desire to be with him?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I was turned on like a fucking Christmas tree, like I hadn't been in 20 years. When I
Really?
shut down my sexuality to be monogamous.
When she got sober.
When I got
in
sober,
2009, she shut her
So
I
you
shut
bought
it
her a
all down.
bottle of vodka and everything was fine.
Yeah.
and it was all
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, and I blew my life up, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't be here today. But so we acknowledged it by
Did
going.
you stay friends with the guy?
No.
So you had to eliminate him just to be able to keep your word with Rev.
We made a choice. We talked it all the way through. And what actually happened was when we talked so honestly and openly, and this can only be done in a safe container, by the way. Don't just start talking to your spouse about this if you haven't learned
most people
the rules.
most people don't have the spiritual ability to hear this conversation.
Right, but it can
what
be
they're
learned.
hearing is I want out, I'm unhappy, you're not turning me on, you're ugly, like that's what they hear.
Yeah.
Um,
And here's what he did that was so fantastic, though. Rev, when instead of blaming me, judging me, I can't believe she did that, emotionally went out on him, right? He went, she's obviously looking for something that I'm not providing her. What can I do to level myself up to make her the man that she wants again?
right.
And like, that's what saved our marriage.